Hello, Kelly. Okay. Milestone 5, Task 2. Thank you so much for your submission. I love it. You can easily correct things in photos. I do too. I've been using Photoshop for 25 years, and I just love going in there and getting down and playing with pixels and just really making really detailed, intricate adjustments. I just love it. So I'm so glad to hear that you're enjoying your experience with Photoshop in the class. Um, yeah, and that's good. And hopefully you understand and you've gained an appreciation of the editability of the repair layers. I mean, we can just go in and do a repair layer. And I demonstrated this in the video, right? This one right here. I demonstrated that, yes, you can go in and make a repair, but if it's not editable, it's useless because otherwise, you go in and make a repair and don't dedicate it to a specific um, layer, and your client says, well, I don't want that. Well, that change is embedded in the file, and the only way to get out to remove it is to replace the actual image itself. So I think that's one of the most powerful features in all of Photoshop is the ability to edit non-destructively in every turn. There's a way to do it non-destructively. There's ways to do it destructively. Absolutely, we know that. That defines the difference between an amateur designer and a professional designer. So we are shooting and striving for professionalism, right? So yes, indeed, you've done a great job. Your layer structure looks fantastic. Oh, you did mention one more thing. I had already done some adjustments prior to the milestone and task. This file has gotten huge. It has. It's 136 megs, and that's not even that big, Kelly. I mean, it's quite. I mean, you have Photoshop files that are well over a gig, and several hundred layers, and so you can imagine they get pretty complex. So organization is of the utmost importance. But yes, they do grow quickly. So let's go and take a look. I love this piece. I really do. I think this is fantastic. This is on par with the examples that I've used as examples for excellent from previous students. So this is fantastic. I'm going to ask you if I can use this piece in my examples. I'll go ahead and let me know if that's acceptable to you. And you deserve it. You've worked your tail off on this piece, and everything you've done is just fantastic. Okay, I do have a couple of recommendations. Now, going through this, yes, our checklist. I don't even have to check 8 by 10 at 300 ppi because I know it's there. You've got all of your hue and adjustment saturations clipped appropriately. This hue saturation adjustment layer right here, I think it's taking contrast away from the background. I think it looks better without that because the background has a much deeper tonal variation. The range of tone without this adjustment layer I think it's superior. There's the layer on. Let's turn it off and watch that contrast pop. Look at that. That's just so much more intense. So I would recommend removing that layer. All of our other layers are appropriately clipped. That's fantastic, as we can see. So good job there. Then we get up to the top, and I was looking, and finally we get up to the top where you have your corrections layer. And yes, indeed, your corrections layer are dedicated. Okay, here's a hand curl repair spot healer. That's great. Hand one curl. There's another one. And then we have a couple of, you had a couple of repair layers that were clipped. Where the heck were they? Hold on one sec. Let me find those. Okay, so yes. Okay, so skirt repair spot healing. So if we take that off, we see that the spots are corrected, right? But I want to show you something. You don't have to clip this to the layer below it. It will work without clipping it. It'll actually reduce file size a little bit too. Not much, but a little bit. And every little bit helps, right? So we don't have to clip a repair layer to the layer that it is repairing, just as long as we put it above that layer for organization's sake. But I mean, we can move that pretty much. So as long as we're sampling from all layers, you don't, it doesn't matter where this layer resides. But we place it on top of the layer. It's repairing for organization's sake, right? So I just want to show you what happens. I'm going to release the clipping mask, and now watch. Here's your repairs. Let's go ahead and release the clipping mask and see what happens. Repairs are still there, right? See, so we don't have to clip that repair layer to the layer it's repairing. I thought I saw that a couple of different places, but it's curious because up here you don't have them clipped. You've got hand to repair spot. So that one's not clipped. So just to reiterate, you don't have to clip your repair layers. All right, now moving forward, I have a couple of recommendations. I think that this squirrel and this butterfly are fascinating. I wouldn't mind seeing maybe another bird, maybe something, a fox or something, or just these little elements that you've added are just fascinating. I wouldn't mind seeing one or two more, maybe a bird up in the tree over here, or a fox in the background, or maybe a fox poking his head out from the behind the bushes. You know, I mean, it's not completely necessary, but I just think it will add so much interest to an already wonderfully interesting piece. My other comment is the type. So you've got this, and I'm going to release that so we can see the image. There's the image you've got, and I'll Command Z that to go ahead and clip it again. So I think the type could be more compelling. I really do. I think the task you have right now is making the type really super interesting, but without overdoing it. Because as you know, Photoshop's type tools can get carried away pretty quickly. So you really have to display some restraint in Photoshop's type effects. But I would love to see at least a bevel and a boss, and maybe even type on a semicircle or type on an arc like that. Just something a little bit just to create a little more visual interest in the title. All right, fantastic work. Very, very good. Love it, love it. You've been working your butt off on this piece, and it certainly shows. So if you have any questions at all, please let me know. Thank you very much.